And we're recording. Good deal. I love it when I hit those buttons at the same time. As always, and with no body today, just arms and a floating head, I am Brian Kynes, the, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We use a awesome mixture of multiple different types of tabletop role-playing games to navigate through our story, heavily homebrewed by myself and several of the members here in the group. And the folks that are joining me here on this Sunday afternoon are here to help me write this story one chapter at a time. We'll go through brief introductions as we always do, giving people a chance to kind of stretch a little bit and get ready. Let's go ahead and start with Colby today.
Yeah, I'm Colby, and I'll be playing Kiltusk, who's an Atlati ranger, and is witnessing great things on the outside of the temple we're currently at. And he has a beast companion who was recently wounded in the big fight. That is the creature behind me.
Awesome. Loki is awesome. And I'll hopefully let you utilize him a little bit more here in the future. And well, that'll be a good situation for you. Okay. Next, Mr. Keaton, please go ahead.
I'll be playing the part of Mirk, the human spirit paladin, who may or may not renew his oath of vengeance, depending on what happens.
That's interesting. I love our conversation about that too. There could be some very, it makes sense. You know, it's neat. It's pulled because, you know, you just had the conversation of between Velendal and Silwyn. And that could almost justify your reasoning for that, depending on what happens. You know what I mean? So it's just it's cool. The whole thing's cool. Speaking of Bella, why don't you go ahead, young lady?
Let's see. My name is Belle, and I'm going to be playing Silwyn, the former maiden of song turned Sky Lancer, who is buddies with Mirk and Promise too.
Awesome. We're glad to have you with us today. She does some extracurricular fantasy kind of things in her spare time, and she is whipped, and we're really glad that she is able to fight back sleep and join us for this. We appreciate having her on. And last but certainly not least, the Ford hater, the pipe tobacco eliminator, Mr. McGuffey, please introduce yourself.
Well, with that introduction, not much left, but I'll be playing Bastille, the very young elf who had to grow up very fast and now is a celestial warlock after spending a lot of time training as an assassin. Long story how he got there, but you'll just have to join for the ride.
Nice. Not very well done. Well done. You have to enjoy the ride. That's good stuff, man. Yeah, that's a big departure from I was an assassin, but I'm a celestial warlock. Amen. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
He found religion after an angel was like, "Hey, bitch."
Something like that, yes. So let's go ahead and just do a little bit of a verbal recap. We didn't do one earlier on just because it had been, we didn't start till 7. I had some things I was trying to get accomplished before we got on here tonight. I think the last scene, mind you, we only do this every 2 to 3 weeks now, so there are gaps, people, you know. So I believe the last scene we had, I know you guys had seen or been a part of the scene that had to do with this old, what seemed like Mecati Cleric that had found a way to hide when these serpent-like as Tenosian warriors came in and forced all the Mecati clerics out of the water temple. It looks like we were looking at an image from the past. And he had hid in some kind of underwater secret chamber in that main room where we were at. And once this, what seemed like to be some kind of leader of these Nazgul serpent-like worshippers, like these serpent-like cultists, he snuck out and declared I don't know, it was kind of like vengeance. It was kind of like an oath that he was going to set stuff right. And we saw this aging Mecati Cleric actually pray to the Seraphim, which we know is housing Ambriel. And a gateway opened, very similar to the same one you guys have. And he was able to enter into that Seraphim, much like Mirk has entered into his. And I think that was the last moment of the last episode. Is that correct, everyone? I know Danny wasn't there, but I told him a little bit about this, and it's on video. So it's that how much better can that be? So, Jeremy, you were nodding yes. Colby, you think that was about right? Okay, Bella, I saw you nod in agreement as well. Okay, so moving forward. I don't think you guys had entered or found the gate in here to move to the next location yet, had you? I don't believe that happened. Or no one had sought it out. Just for a brief recap, Danny, when I was going through and playing your character and stuff, Bastille was trying to stay the least connected to these things going around him. Remember you saw that student's chair pop up in the corner. That this place creates from memories of the people that are in it. And now you're in two hemispheres of Seraphim that are colliding in one space. It's crazy what this place is capable of. And you always have you've told me out of game and in game it, although this is answering a lot of questions, there is an urgency. You have a page that's burned out of your book. You have lost connection with Vander, and with that loss of connection, worry has kind of begun to seep in. So you have been the one that's kind of been seeking out the exit strategy for each one of these rooms that we encounter and walk in. Okay. You had found one in the actual nest of the large bird that we believed to be a Quetzalcoatl or Quetzalcoatl. Actually, it wasn't. It turns out that name was given to them by these, and I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this right before I do this, by these Nazgul, okay, or Naugal. I'm getting the Lord of the Rings word, the Naugal. It turns out that large bird that we know as a rock, just because we all have monsters manuals, they actually called a guarda, Guarda. And we had seen, Danny, that this bird had been falsely named to create hate for a certain god or a certain idol. But this is actually a large bird, a predatory bird called a guarda. And they renamed it the Quetzalcoatl and tried to embody it as a deity and a being to give it false power as far as manipulation of the people that worshipped it. It's a bit complicated, but when you've played through this like they have, it makes sense. Okay. So in that moment, I would like to go around and ask everybody what exactly it is that they're doing. Now, I want to remind you that you're in the same chamber where the final fight took place, in that large chamber that had the Terrachua or the Tarrasque image on the floor. It had Ambriel, the Seraphim, up ahead of you all. And remember, this Mecati Cleric came up from the water in the very top right-hand corner of the room, like from some kind of hidden like chamber or something like that. What is everyone doing at this moment? There needs to be an exit out. You could have a conversation about what you've seen here. I'll start this with, let's start with Bastille in this instance.
He's probably like, we need to get over there. We need to get this done. The longer we stay in here, I mean, Mirk, I know you're comfortable here, but we could get lost in here and never come out. Look at this guy.
Yes.
And you'd actually start to see him like kind of counting on his fingers, and when he's doing that, and he would go, "Yeah, I don't think we could, man. If we teleported out of here, what would that do?"
Now, if you want to, you can roll an Arcana check to see how well you're able to figure it out. And like I say, everyone in the room that's here, that includes Silwyn, and the characters I'm NPCing, which is Baraxel, which has Yoda's spirit inside of him. And who else was with us? I think that was it, wasn't it? It was Baraxel. It was Mirk in his mortal form. It was Bastille, and it was Silwyn, correct? Okay. So, Mirk, when he says this to you, Danny, I'll allow you any kind of check you want whenever you want to roll it. What are you saying to this, Mirk?
I've never been this far into the construct without trying to teleport out.
Okay.
I can honestly say, I suppose there's just as much chance at this point that we teleport out on her end as there is ours. But Ambriel's construct form is in the same room as us, so I mean, it's worth a shot if nothing else.
And also keep in mind, Bastille, that you guys were trying to leap from hovering and rotating doorway to doorway to try to get to that one central plateau that has a glowing presence from it, which we believe is the passage to go straight inside of Ambriel's Seraphim. It was floating on a piece of ruins, like in the distance.
Okay. And from what I remember you telling me, wasn't Mirk able to form solid ground once?
He actually did conjure that up in a desperate moment. Silwyn was drifting off like a spacewalk with no rope, and he was able to manifest something from a memory, which was awesome.
I got a natural 19 on an Arcana check.
Great. Tell me what you would like to know arcane-wise, and I will elaborate.
He's looking around, wondering what the effect of magic would be in this place, because he's not going to misty step, over there and take the chance of, crossing the streams, to quote Ghostbusters.
Point made. So, with a 19,
it'd be a 30 total.
A 30 total, which is great, but a natural 19, which is even better. For me, that tells me a lot about the dice and what it's won here. I will throw a couple things at you. I'll throw some things that you would be considered of, and I'll throw some facts at you, okay? First thing is, now that you've seen the wild nature of this place, and you've been through a couple different memories in here, and you don't know if they're Ambriel's, if they're hidden things within her construct, but Brahmas seemed to have a certain structure to him that was simplified based on Mirk's needs. So, for instance, he understood the interior of castles in Old Gemdar, where he used to serve. So it was very easy for Brahmas to manifest a way and a passage for him to go to different memories by creating that rotating large castle with all the different columns and inner doorways and things, because that's a way that Mirk was able to rationalize it. We're seeing something beyond what a mortal could imagine here. We're seeing landscapes that are being developed from memories. We're seeing much grander things in that nature. So to use magic in this place, I would say if that role, you believe you could manipulate yourself and maybe the others that are directly connected to you and identify you as real in this place. But if you were trying to interact with the things in this place, it would probably fail based on these theories. Okay? That's what I'll give you with that. Silwyn, and Bast, if you want to elaborate that insight with the rest of them, put in your words, and Silwyn, whatever you'd like to say, If anything, you're more than welcome to have the stage.
So I think that I possibly could maybe use healing magic on one of us, but anything that messes with time space, because this is time space, so a misty step could be dangerous. Or if we get into combat, we use magic. Remember that all of this is created from the mind of the being that inhabits it, and right now yours is connected with hers in this space in between. And I don't know what it would do to your beings, if it would work at all, or if it would do something outside of that. So you are probably free to do what you wish, Mirk, because you're part of this place, but the rest of us could mess with something, I think.
Silwyn, roll me an insight check.
So I rolled a 5. I'm looking for the modifiers now, but I don't think that will push it very far.
Okay. Something strikes you kind of weird.
6.
A 6 total. Something strikes you kind of weird when he says this, because you're being insightful. You are sitting back, letting this conversation happen. He's understanding some things that are going on here. Mirk understands some things. It's all going through and whatnot and stuff, and that's great. But they said something, and I won't elaborate anymore, but it does raise a question in your mind. Basic. If this is based on the memories of the people in here, whose memory are we in right now? Because Ambriel sure as hell isn't here. And Mirk's definitely never been in this phase. And then you think back at the other ones. And I'll let you draw your own conclusion from that. But as you're sitting back being insightful, you're like, huh, they make a valid point. Interesting. You know what I mean? Chew on that however you'd like. So Mirk, Bast has explained what he's explained. Does anyone want to start looking for a potential exit to this place or anything of that nature? I'll leave it up to you all.
My only word of caution to all of you. I experienced one of Ambriel's memories firsthand, or I saw through her eyes.
Bast would look real intently at you.
Although I felt no physical wound, the damage done to my mind was another story.
Damage?
In the memory that I experienced, she was attacked. She was a part of the battle of the angels against the demons. She was bested by a demon.
Could you feel her fear?
I could. I think that fear that I felt...
Were colors brighter?
What was that?
He asked you if colors were brighter, like there were more colors than you're used to seeing.
Not so much more vivid, but definitely vivid all the same. It wasn't a black and white memory. I was seeing as if she had remembered it from the moment.
So when I saw through the eyes of one of them, I almost couldn't comprehend the amount of stuff that was coming in sensory.
At any given moment, in any memory we find ourselves in, it's good to recognize and brace ourselves for the fact that we're not looking through our own eyes. We're looking through the eyes of somebody that was there, that experienced that moment. And if they fall prey to any attack, we have to steel our minds for that.
Is it possible the pieces that look like chaos are just things that we can't process because she sensed them differently?
We are dealing with angels. I'm sure their perception of the world and pain is a whole different world than what we're used to. will caution this as well. When one of those spirits had attempted to jump through me, through Brahmas, he actually entered the space within Brahmas, and I was able to attack him. While I don't anticipate anything like that, you should be cautious for that as well. It's going to be hard to tell from one moment to the next what enemy is real and what enemy has made its way in. We're in a dangerous place.
Well, maybe we should see if these work. He summons one of his daggers just to see if they actually come out.
Just a minute. Moral quandary. The DM is thinking, processing. I wish I had that icon I could put up here. The DM is processing because he does not understand time space in real life, so he has to make it up. It does. Your connection to whatever being is doing this is present and can find you here. That is also interesting, and you want to make a note of that because that is very intriguing. Okay. So you guys see Bastille, and he looks down and he summons a dagger that seems to be made out of a radiant type energy, and his is more of like a white wisping type. He's not all the golden glamour and radiance. His is more of a white wisping type of a radiant energy, but nonetheless, a dagger does appear in his hand. Baraxel speaks up in seeing this and looks over at you and says, I wonder if this is how the gods feel. Being able to see things from the past and from the future. And not being able to change them. A sad existence. And he kind of looks around, and he turns around and he looks around for a minute. I'm going to roll a check for Braxel because he is also looking for the exit and stuff in this particular room. And with a natural 20. First roll of the night, guys. First roll of the night, natural 20. I'm going to do a thing with a natural 20. Let's go ahead and switch over to a map view. Okay. There we go. Man, I love to be able to do this kind of stuff. It's fun. All right. So there we all are in the room. Okay. Looks just as it did, but now you'll notice that this Seraphim is dormant here. None of the events that happened to you all have even came close to happening at this point. And Baraxel steps out to this spot right here, remembering the things that happened to us not that long ago in this very room. But for some reason, and you all notice it too, you can't help but feel like that was a long time ago for some reason. You know, it hasn't even been a day. But there's this feeling. He looks down at the water, and you can still see ripples going through the water, where that cleric came up from the water and emerged and came in this way. And he looks down, he kneels down, and he puts his hand to the water, and he starts looking around and throughout the room. And it seems like he is following the vibrations that were in the water that he left, the ripples. Because remember, if you remember me describing this water was extraordinarily tranquil and still. Okay? It seems like the memory of any of the just one more time, the Nagal serpent warriors are gone. And he looks back over his shoulder, and Bastille, he looks to you as the one that's found the other ways to get in and out of these rooms. And he says, I don't see the way out of here yet, but maybe it is concealed from us. And he looks to the water, and he puts his fingers in it, and he points over in the direction of where the cleric emerged from in the room. What are you doing?
I head over. I guess I start into the water where the cleric was, slowly try not to make ripples.
Okay. Now, what kind of check would you like to make for, would this be investigation, or would this be tracking, or what do you want to roll here, and tell me why? I like doing it that way. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun.
I would say investigation, because he doesn't have as much training on stout. He has some survival, so I guess he does have some training in that. But he would just be using what he knows about little things, you know. Did this move, or is there a mark here or something? You know, looking around for something standing out. So investigation more than a tracking sense.
Okay, go ahead and roll your roll. Does anyone want to do anything to help him in this endeavor? As Baraxel is also looking and doing these things to and flowing the water, so I'll give you advantage just for that fact. That's the way, that basic rules work in most games. We'll go with that here.
22.
22. As you step into, and where exactly here, Danny, would you like to step into the water? From Baraxel, do you want to go down these steps here? He came from this direction over this way. Do you want to go over past these steps and kind of step down and look underneath these archways? Do you want to step on top of this bridge and look that way? Or where do you want to get in the water at, bud?
Basically where the cleric came out.
Okay. So let me go ahead. That makes perfect sense. Let me do that real quick for you. Okay. Just a minute. Sorry about that. Okay. Bastille. The cleric came from underneath this stairway as if he was hiding. And when he did, with your investigation roll, you notice that there is a descending stairway just beneath the water's surface over in the right-hand corner of this room. Okay. Had a little bit of internet drop there. I'm going to make sure that we're still recording. It says we are. And we're also recording on our map. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Everybody back and everybody's okay? Okay. There'll be a little bit of a switch there. I've had it easy on the editing lately, so it's about time I had to get a little bit of work in. I've had it too easy for too long. That's weird. And, I don't know what happened. Everything's full. Every once in a while, shit drops and things happen. Let me move my position around here a little bit so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better, maybe. Okay. That works out pretty good right there, I think. And I wonder something. Nope. Okay, it stays that way. It's funny, on the one computer, when I move my position around, it doesn't affect the one that I'm recording on. So that's really helpful when it comes to games getting dropped and such. So, but anyway, last thing you all heard that I mentioned that he had saw this hidden stairway. Did you all get to hear that much of it?
I heard, let me do that real quick, and that was it.
Okay. So I explained that the cleric had come down, had emerged from underneath of this passageway when this sorcerer leader kind of have left the room. And it looks like he had appeared and come up right here. So Bast, this would have been your entrance point into the water. And with that 19, as you look through this area here, you see a hidden set of stairs just beneath the water's surface. You believe that is where he had been hiding from to hide from these people. And Jeremy, you couldn't be more right about that. Danny, you need to check chat. You have went,
thinking the exact same
yeah.
thing.
You have went Super Saiyan. You definitely have, sir.
Where is? That's awesome.
Oh, that's too good. Oh.
All I can think is dun 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 dun
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Yeah, what was that, Universal Studios? The beginning of the movie. Oh, it's good stuff. Oh, you know, just like I say, whenever I do a clip of our greatest hits, that is on the list, sir. That is next level. Anyway, moving on. As the solar eclipse passes, there we go. This is what you see, Bastille. What would you like to say to the rest of the group?
There's obviously stairs down here.
That is well put.
But
So
I've done
that's
so
what
well
you-
with water in the past. Promise, you want to go for, or Mirk, you want to go? Well, I guess in this form, you're just as mortal as the rest of us.
Certainly not as
What's that? So you went up there and you've revealed to everybody kind of what's going on, correct?
Yeah. Well, I've got a plan.
I would love to hear your plan because I'm rehooking wires real quick. So please tell me your plan.
He says, Almost hold this blade by the tip. And he hands him the blade he summoned.
just the tip.
I promise.
Oh my God, we're doing this. Okay, that's great. No, really, by all means. So Jeremy, as he takes his shirt, he's
Oh,
getting himself. I don't think I'm going to touch it. Okay.
Yeah, I'll grab the dagger.
just leave the handle out where I can get to it if I need it. And then he starts back into the water.
Okay. So
If I run out of breath, Misty step back to that because it doesn't take any components or anything to step to the dagger, just a bonus action and mental.
well, that's great.
And
You guys are gonna see Mirk take a kind of a almost like a horse stance because he knows what's coming if this happens.
That's great. I mean, you guys, I mean, water's not been your friend. Now, do you want to stand
Yeah.
here, Brahmas, or hold on? You know, let me change what you are here because that is not who you are right now. Who you are is this guy. Let's dial this down a little bit. Okay, so that's the best I can give you for now, I think. Let me make sure. Oh no, here we go. Here's what I need to do. I've got this figured out, bud. Just one second.
So I almost just envision myself looking a lot more mortal in this place rather than the glowing celestial.
I got it. So you thought you had me, didn't you? Not the case. Now this one isn't as updated as the other one, as this one doesn't have all the beard and everything. But listen, I'm doing the best I can. Imagination, but this goes a long way. That at least accomplishes some of it. So there you are, buddy. Okay. Let's go ahead and use that as your piece now. Are you wanting to go up to the edge of the water here? Or are you wanting to go over to this part of this little bridge walkway in front of him to take the dagger? Where are you going to here?
I'm gonna stand on the bridge. That way, he's got at least a fair direct line of sight between where he's at and his dagger if something goes south.
Okay. Makes sense to me, sir. All right. So with that, you've taken the dagger and you are doing that to give him a way back in case things don't go the way he plans.
We don't.
Okay. Silwyn, as you see this, is there anything you would like to add? I don't mean to leave you out or anything like that. Do you have anything to add at this point? Are you going over to investigate, or what is it you're actually doing at this moment?
I think she's probably hovering nearby them, but in terms of doing anything, I can't think of anything in particular.
Okay, and I want to say that Baraxel has found his way down into the water, and he is behind Bastille, which I think makes sense. Okay, so as this happens, Bast, are you headed towards this stairway over here?
Yeah. Yep.
With a grin on his face and hope in his heart.
No, I just, for real funny, I thought I could go old white guy at a restaurant and turn to Barax and be like, "Do you swim well?"
Yeah.
Just talk louder because
yeah. I get it. Who knows? You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. So
there's always that guy, like at a restaurant, you see the old guy over there ordering, kills me.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So are you taking a breath and going for it?
Yep.
Okay. As you do, Bastille submerges under the water and heads towards the descending stairway into the darkness, and you see a long tunnel that seems to have a 90-degree turn in it. And from the other end, you can see what might be fire lit and trickling, causing reflections to come from whatever's on the other side, as if there's some kind of flickering light source. The reason I say that is you have seen that similarly before in here, whereas you've seen the opening that you were getting ready to go to on the other ones, and you could see that torchlight kind of flicker on the water, but that seems to be coming against a 90-degree turn where you can't see exactly where it is. You've got at least 40 or 50 foot straight ahead, and then you've got to imagine something similar going to the left.
Great. Well, how long's that? He pops his head back up out of the water. How long's that rope you still in?
We said it was 50 foot. I didn't mean to answer for you. I'm sorry. But yeah, she that last time I think we estimated it was 50 foot.
40, 50 feet to the bend, so that's not going to work. Well, guys, it's going to be a long swim. It's like 40, 50 feet, and then it turns. So,
would you like me to go with you? Silwyn can hold the dagger.
sounds like a plan.
Okay. Mirk, you hop down to the water.
He
Yeah.
says, Sullivan, if the dagger disappears, we made it.
Okay.
So, are you handing her the dagger to hold on to?
Yep.
Silwyn,
Hold it out
do you,
there.
do you like this idea?
I think I'll just take up the spot that Mirk was at.
Okay.
So then there's a little bit of that visual. But I'm pretty sure she had her bad experience with water tunnels last time.
Yeah.
So she's
true.
likely not super psyched to hop in one again. So I think she's fine.
So the idea here is that, and what kind of distance do you think that thing works within, Danny? Because normally when you throw it, it goes. So here's what I'll give you. and this just happens to line up, right? What is the Misty Step distance? Is it 60 foot?
The spell is 30 foot, but the dagger is 60 foot. That's why he can do a long one with it, because it's the range of the normal range of the dagger.
Okay. So I'll give you 60 foot, which is kind of nice here, because that means you know what I'm saying, right? Go ahead and fill in the blanks if you know what I'm getting ready to say.
Yeah, that means that he can make the bend, and if it's too far, he can come back.
Yeah, and that's not by my design. That's just kind of cool how it worked out. That's pretty freaking sweet for you, actually. That's cool. Okay. So,
He turns to
Mirk.
Mirk. How are you getting back out of here if we get down there and we run out of air?
I'm just gonna look at him. I'm a ghost. I don't need to breathe.
Oh, thanks for that. Didn't realize how that worked in here.
Does Silwyn hear that? About the I'm a ghost?
Absolutely.
Because I think she may add in, like, well, technically, but I think ghosts haven't been growing facial hair or changing all that much. So are we entirely sure about that one?
That's a good point.
This would touch him and go, doesn't feel like a ghost.
Going off what I know. If we find out otherwise, we'll know.
So are you headed under and you're following Bast? Okay,
Thousands of years in a construct. Now he believes he's a ghost. So he takes a breath and drops under the water.
as you take a breath and drop under the water, I would like for you to do me a Constitution saving throw, Jeremy.
Holy shit. I got a 14.
What?
Yeah. And with
What?
bonuses, that's like a 16.
You fuck.
With
All
water,
right.
that's kind of par for the course.
Right. What'd you get, Jeremy?
I'm looking right now.
Okay. And this
Thank
is what it looks like when you go under the water. Ooh, graphics.
Thank God for that ring of the bear, giving me a +2.
Just
Okay.
excited I got above a 10 on a constitution roll.
I think everyone that watches these is excited for you right now, bud. I am.
Oh yeah, that's a 16 plus 8, 24.
I will explain this to you in a way. This is a hard thing to put into words. So I'm going to do the best I can here, Jeremy, okay? When your character, when Mirk goes underneath this water, you feel cool pressure, water going in your nose. You feel that cold shock to your eyes. You feel the water wave through your hair and that pressure. And the craziest thing, and this is actually very significant. I never thought about this until just now. The craziest thing, and this is the first time wow, this is a big deal. You can hear your heartbeat in that silence. That muffled water sound, that's always in there. And when you're holding, you take a gulp and gasp for just kind of a minute, and you can hear your pulse. I'll let you interpret that however you want to.
Like if Bast was looking, the look on his face would say it all.
Okay. Bass, when you look back over your shoulder.
Partially in, oh shit. And the other half is, oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's fucking huge, dude.
But I will take a second to take the sash on my shoulder and cinch it down so it doesn't get hung up on it.
Okay. Smart. All right, you guys, both give me athletics checks to get your asses moving. Let's see how you do. DC 10 moves you right along just fine. DC 15 and you could compete in some kind of Olympics in 5, and Silum's gonna be laughing at you. Just letting you know how it goes. And Colby too. And Colby will be laughing too.
23 for athletics.
23 is not too shabby, Mr. Phelps. Jeremy.
A natural 20 for 30.
Wow. What is it, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World? Mirk finds the power of friendship. He finds the power of life, and there he goes. Fantastic. Mirk, it is amazing how invigorated and full of vigor you are in the realization that there is something real, that you are closer now to being mortal and mattering physically again than you have since you passed away that fateful day on the foot of the Mountain of Tears. And because of that, I almost imagine that 20 is representative of like when a person steps into a fountain of youth and they come out a young man again, and all of a sudden they're just kind of skipping around because they have new feet, and new knees. I almost imagine that's what is inspiring this. Okay, which is very nice for theatrics. You feel you have to slow down for Bastille, which is interesting. Okay. With that, you make yourselves go around the corner, and then you see a passageway that leads, and it is an equal distance, another 45-degree angle, with a area that opens up very similarly to the way it did before. You can see the torchlight flickering, and there's something even more interesting. I would like for you, Mirk, because now you are super awake and Bast both, to roll me a perception check, both of you. Let me know what you get, and if you get this will be very interesting. We're getting there, Colby. I hope you're enjoying the show, but this is crucial, okay?
6 for perception.
A 6. You are
26.
Oh, of course. Thought we had him, everybody. I thought we had him.
Got expertise in
I know you do. You know what you have expertise in, Charlie Sheen? Winning. That's what you have expertise in, sir. Jeremy, what'd you get?
18.
You see something that catches you for just a minute that you've not seen before. And you don't know how to quite comprehend it. I will even say you two can even give me a scene like how you would react under the water. I'm going to say you passed your checks very well. Both of you did. Okay. I will give you a minute to go like, I'll give you that moment. Okay. You see coins. Ancient coins of different types of metals and some gemstones that glimmer and flicker in the torchlight. About 12 or so gemstones and 20 coins scattered on the ascending steps on the other side. And they just seem to be catching that light coming through the water surface on the other side. You've not seen anything like that in here. Everything you've seen has been about construction and about ancient Meccan technology and bones, and you've seen some gems and stuff like that, and you've seen some skulls made out of some really, really cool materials. And now you see this. What is your underwater response? And I need you both to use your best underwater voices too, please. Colby, this is where we get to sit back and enjoy.
He's pointing towards the air first. He keeps swimming. I'm not touching stuff.
Okay. Bravo, gentlemen. Your next rolls, I'll give you a +1 too on the next ones. Whatever it is, it's fine. You get a +1. That was fantastic. As you go to the other side, I have something I need to show you all. Let me find it here, bud.
So we do actually get our heads above water.
We're going to get there. Yes. But it's a little bit more interesting, my friend, than that.
It's funny how the little hand's like climbing.
It is. It's going. It's doing its thing, isn't it, buddy? Make sure I'm doing this right.
We're figuring that out. I gotta say, I like how the fan is blowing, the green screen behind me. So it's kind of
Making the fire.
Reality, kind of like in and out.
Yep. Between your effects and Danny's Universal Studios thing, this has been a great night for camera work. It just across the board. I'd like for y'all to watch the screen closely. Okay. Danny, I am going to have you be the one to read this. This will be T21. Just a minute. When I get it centered in here, I'll let you go ahead and read it out loud. And as you guys emerge from the water and look around, Danny, please go ahead and read.
As you emerge from the water-filled passageways, your
what?
eyes begin to
No,
take
hold
in
on. Whoa, stop. Jeremy, would you like to read this?
As you emerge from the water-filled passageways, your eyes begin to take in the hidden chamber that lies before you. The central shrine-like tribune rests partially submerged in the adjacent room. A huge statue of the Terrachua stands amongst several mounds of corroded treasure and plentiful offerings to the godlike predator. An Atlati totem stands in the center of the tribune. Its eyes and mouth radiate a fiery glow that dances upon the chamber floor and walls, illuminating the racks of spears and weaponry that share the area. A set of well-used smithing tools lay spread out across the floor, singed black from excessive use.
Thank you, my friend. And this is what you see.
Summons his dagger back and he looks to Brahma or Mirk and says, looks like we missed a room in the real temple.
Valid point.
Be worth coming back when we get back in there. Not so much for the gems and the coins, but
You shut your paladin mouth.
whatever you do when my back is turned is your business. Just make sure to buy me something pretty.
Now we're talking.
Those are all.
What's your vow again?
It just depends on what circumstances are.
Okay. So, with that, over by the actual forge that has the weapons and things, you would see what appears to be one of these glowing doorways that would be the way to go ahead and move forward into the next section, or at least back into that outer realm. And that will depend on a roll once you go through the door, which Colby will provide for us when that time comes. Okay.
Summon my dagger so that they know to come too.
Okay. So let me go ahead and graphically make this kind of a thing. All right. And shortly up behind you all, I definitely want to say that Baraxel shows up and is just lost in amazement as he looks at this, guys. This is a huge, huge deal. Just a minute. Let me do one more thing here.
This appears to me like a shrine to venerate the Terrachua.
And so with that conversation, do you guys have anything else to say on that matter before I move back over to Silwyn? So you say this is a shrine to venerate?
It's kind of my assumption, yes.
Okay.
So do you think that the I can't pronounce it, the
Terrachua?
the cultist.
Oh, it's spelled, and let's just go ahead and be real clear about this because we haven't talked about them a lot. So,
The Naugul?
no, it's Naugal,
Oh.
who?
Naugal, or
No.
Naugal, however you want to pronounce it. But that's how you spell it. Okay.
Oh, now brown gal.
Right.
Nalgal. So he says, do you think the Nalgal managed to put something in the temple?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Naugal is what the other warriors called that sorcerer guy. They are called the Nagtal. Nagtal. At least that was a little bit easier to pronunciate. So the Nagtal. And that's in that other word, they had the U in it, is what they were calling this leader that came up and whispered that evil kind of shit to the Seraphim at the end of the last episode. Then, if you haven't had a chance to check that out, that's a scene worth checking out to see in real time. So there you go. And continue. You can answer, Mirk. Sorry for the interruption.
I'd like to know what this room was originally meant for. This appears to be natural construction as far as I'm concerned. Part of me
Well, then we'll just
there wasn't something else here before that was removed.
All right, well, let's remember the pathway. Let's get over there and get out of here.
Remember the room well. I'll try to do the same. I want to see what is out of place and missing. Although curiosity besets me, I wouldn't mind finding a greatsword on that rack.
Harley. No.
Valid point.
What was that last? Sorry, I was dealing with Labradorks.
I wouldn't mind finding a greatsword on that rack.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move. Silwyn, you are all alone. And in that creepy distance, the water dripping in this place starts to get a little bit eerie. You start doing what people do when they have too long to think about where they're at with no distraction. You start thinking about, what if some of those serpent-like cultists come back, and you think about cultists. And you think about being alone, and I would like for you to do me a charisma, just a check, just a basic roll for the hell of it.
19 without any modifiers, so
Great. That tells me everything I need. That's awesome. It's weird. This is the closest you've ever been to Mirk. And it's also the furthest away you've ever felt as you stare at that water rippling. And you almost forgot you even had a hold of the dagger. That this place is a memory or some kind of assimilation of that in this place. And although your rational mind, Silwyn, is not a fool by any extent of imagination, but you squeeze on that dagger just for a minute because you really want everything to be okay on the other side. And as you do for that minute, you kind of take a deep breath and you're holding it. And then you hold it a little longer than you thought. And you're like, it's been like 2 minutes. It's been 3 minutes. And then all of a sudden, shoo, the dagger's gone. And you kind of take a deep breath. So now what do you do?
I think she's like relieved, like, and then, shit. Like the knowledge of, shit, now I gotta get in the water. So, she gets in the water to hop over to the other side because there wasn't a discussion like, wait here, and I think everybody else is over there, yeah?
There wasn't.
Okay.
Kaboosh. Okay, roll me in athletics. And then with the athletics, depending on how well you do that, I will have you roll a constitution.
So that's a 15.
Total?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And now I know what the DC is for the constitution throw. Go ahead and roll that for me, please.
3.
Okay. As you go in, and you submerge yourself under the water, you see the distance in the tunnel. You can see the shadows of them on the other side. Okay? And as you're going through the water and things of that nature, you come across some of the same kind of coins, the same kind of gemstones, and things like that that they had seen. Okay? So, as you're doing that, I want you to roll me an investigation check at disadvantage.
So the first roll of that was a nat 1, so I don't think disadvantage will change that.
No. You can't make out what are on these coins, and it really piques your interest. And as you're looking and you're swimming down, somehow the fin on your helmet seems to hit the side as you're going down to examine because you're having a hard time. And as it does, it spins your helmet a little bit sideways and covers your eyes. And as you're struggling with it, and you kind of lose track of where you are, and you're grabbing the helmet, as you go to kind of stand up and mess with it, your head hits the top of the passageway. Okay? And it kind of knocks you for a bit of a loop, representing the bad roll you rolled. And you feel that panic start to kick in again. You're having trouble again getting across here. Bastille, Mirk, she's not coming through the other side. Is anybody saying or doing anything?
Wait here. I'll go see if I can get her. We didn't tell her to come with us when the dagger disappeared.
Right.
Yeah, probably should have mentioned that if I died, the dagger would disappear too.
That would have been pertinent information, yeah.
That's also right. Yes. Oh my. So, Baraxel says he looks and he just kind of walks off in wonder and amazement, and he nods to you two, and he starts walking over towards the forge and the large statue of the Terrachua and heads that direction. Okay. Mirk, go ahead and do me an athletics. Water. 17. Good job. You go. Nice. You go through the first corridor. Everything seems to be going just fine. And as you turn the corner, you can see Silhouette just floating there for just a minute, as if she's made it almost to the turn, her helmet's kind of down over, and she seems like she possibly has knocked herself unconscious, or she is kind of kicking and struggling as something has happened. The one wing is, I won't say it knocked you unconscious, but she's definitely struggling. The helmet's down over her eyes. You didn't expect this. You expected to go over and say, hey, we're on our, well, what, blah, 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 you know, and there it is. So what is it that you're doing in this moment?
The first thing I'm going to do is make my way over to her and take her helmet off.
Roll Constitution. Mm-hmm. You feel good. You do this. You go over and take the helmet off. I will have you, and tell me what the goal is here.
We'll take her helmet off, mostly so she doesn't get caught on anything again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put one hand on the side of her cheek and just...
Okay, do a persuasion.
$19.
Okay.
I love this new dice, man.
So, with a 19, that's borderline right there where it needs to be for a panic state Silouan again. But I will say that this is against a DC depending on her state, right? And it was between 15 and 20. 20 being it definitely worked perfectly. 15 being you barely pulled it off. 19's a pretty good roll. You're able to get some semblance here, Silouan, and you're seeing what he's saying to you, and you're seeing that familiar voice and all that welled up feeling that you had as you're looking down through the water, even though it being brief, seems to give you some kind of focus again now that you're seeing him. And he's able to grab and touch your helmet, and he's able to do these things, and how real he is and the comfort that gives. I will let you do me a charisma saving throw, and this is going to be give me a give me a charisma check. Tell me what you get.
So 11 plus 3, 14.
14. Okay. This gives you enough focus to be able to follow him out. But water is starting to get in between your teeth and shit because of the damage that you've done. So you need to get moving. Okay. Are you pulling her, or are you letting her swim of her own fruition? You two need to role play that out. Are you reaching for him for guidance, or are you just stroking, or what is it you're doing here, Silouan?
I think she is putting out her hand to him.
Okay. So I will let you do another athletics check with advantage because he is pulling on you.
Let's see.
Actually, I'd like to think that, like, as I'm pulling her to get her some speed.
Yeah.
Her ahead of me. That way I can go behind her and make sure everything's on the up and up.
Okay. That's cool. That'll work. Definitely.
So you said with advantage?
I did, yes. Because it's both
Okay,
of you
12.
working toward come and go. Okay, 12 barely pulls it off. Holy cow, you and water. Man, we got to get you some skill points in swimming.
I mean, I do have skill points to spend, so apparently that is something that she needs to learn.
We'll probably never see water again. You know, I mean, it's true. It's not like she goes deep sea fishing all the time. This is rare. You're able to make it up to the chamber on the other side, Silouan, with the help of Brahmas once again. I would like for you guys to kind of interact that as for a third time. Once again, Silouan emerges up out of the water, fast and innocent, gasping for breath. And I need you guys to roll composure checks to see if it fucks with you. As Bastille, you're walking very carefully through this area, admiring things, heading over to the portal in front of the forge, and bursting up out of the water. Bella, please role play this out for me, and Bastille, roll composure check, charisma.
I think she may kind of burst out and be like, gasping for like, oh my goodness. I think. And then she's like trying to catch her breath, and then she looks around. She's like, "There's no exit in here, is there? I don't want to go back underneath."
I think Mirk pops up. And it's like, yes, it's an exit. Don't worry, she did fine. She just didn't know we were over here.
Braxel extends. Well, no, he didn't. Braxel's already over to the thing. Danny, what'd you roll?
9 with bonuses. It's a nat 1.
Yeah, you about pissed down your leg. For the third time, she gets you. Doing this same thing. React, please, for me. Let everyone see what this is like.
For fuck's sake, stick to flying.
That would be my intention if given the option. I do have to be right back, though. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Bella. You're fine. Okay. So, for fuck's sake, stick to flying. I like it. So,
Oh, shit.
let's see here. Let's go ahead and get everybody set up here for just a minute. Let's go ahead and go with Mirk. I'll say you and Silowin. We're over here on the steps looking at this. Okay. Baroxel walks up to a gateway that looks very similar to one of these window-like things that you're seeing behind me. This thing seems to be hovering in space just to the side of where the forge is. And what's crazy is the rocks inside of this forge, Bast, that you can see looking over Baroxel's shoulder, seem to be like ember and red glowing stones that don't seem like they don't go out. You can't imagine that ancient cleric being the one that stoked this. These things are burnt down like they've been burnt down forever. It just doesn't make sense. And you know, this place is a formation of memories in different pieces. But if this were to be reality, this would be crazy. And you've seen the amazing forge that Tavaster had back in New Gemdar. Okay? This is an older, very awesome looking contraption. And there are racks of what look like Atlati type style weapons that are just lined up from one side to the other. They look pretty decent, but none of them look incredible, as if they haven't been forged completely yet. Now, with that, I would like for the three of you to do me a history check or a recollection check, because you've heard a little bit of something about this maybe when everyone was talking back at the hut about some things or about at the hunting lodge. And now if you all have any insights to this, go ahead and tell me what that is before you do your check, if you can remember.
Isn't the
Or-
Vulcan like volcanic flame?
Absolutely. So that's what you're seeing. This is the Vulcan Forge.
Is there anything, because we know that an angel was here, we know that there was a crash of one of the citadels. Does this look like it was maybe partially constructed from stuff that came off of it?
Do a investigation.
Dirty 20.
It does not. And it's weird because, you know, it's almost like ancient theorists and stuff. You almost want it to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can see that from Bastille. Yeah, I'm not saying it was angels, but it was probably angels. That's great. So, but
I'm not saying it was angels.
That just works too good, doesn't it? That's ridiculous, dude. I'm making that t-shirt with his hairdo and his face on that shirt. I'm making that shit. That's Christmas this year, buddy. So
Girl.
it doesn't. But with a dirty 20, you do see, and you know, this whole time you've been kind of calculating these things up. This is a primitive but very advanced depiction of the way things maybe were described or looked. You know, when they created this temple, they wanted this to be not only a challenge to the people to come in it, so true Atlati and Tenosians and Mecati people would have to earn their way through it. But now that you've gotten here and you stare up at this large construct of a Terrachua with all these different treasures and different golds and gems and different pieces of things that you could imagine helped craft the skulls and helped get melted down for the golden skulls and the different pieces in the other room. This could very metaphorically, very easily be like a haven-like place for the Mecati people, only just created on Ulran. You know what I mean? That's a decent point to theorize on as you look at all this. And as Baraxel turns over and looks at you, and the red vapors of this forge seem to be kind of rising up into the air and making like blurred kind of images as you look up at the Terrachua statue. You know, as heat likes to warp air and stuff of that nature. He looks over your shoulder and he says, whatever happens, you must return to reforge or reignite the Vulcan. We can only hope that it still burns after all this time.
Are you planning on not coming back?
He looks down at the water and he looks in the distance. He looks at Silouan and Mirk in his mortal form. And he puts his hand on his chest and he kind of closes his eyes for a minute. He says, this is only the beginning of the things we are here to find. I am Yota's guide. I am her physical form. We were here to find Ambriel. That is my future. And it is not a sad one. He goes, everyone has their version of a heaven. And he looks around and he kind of half grins. Takes a deep breath and goes, and this would be mine.
May you find the dawnscape.
He looks at you kind of confused for a moment, but he connects the dots. Everybody calls it a different thing, right? So he kind of gets what he picks up what you're putting down, he kind of grins and he looks over in the distance and he grabs one of those random spears off of the rack. Colby, roll me a 1d20. 20 means he got a really, really good one. 1 means he just got an average one. You're muted, my friend. What'd you roll?
We're getting out of the way early. It was a natural 1. He got an average 1.
Damn you guys and your rolls. Okay. So he grabs off an average spear. And it's weird because when he does that, Bastille, you realize that he's buying into this place. And it's accommodating him. He naturally wrapped out and grabbed the part of this dreamlike place, this place that sometimes doesn't have all the physical form it should. And he grabbed that spear and didn't even give it a second thought. And you think because of that, that is why he was able to achieve it. You gotta get what I'm saying with that?
Just takes a moment and thinks about it and thinks about a bridge in Nogil that connects 2 towers. You know the bridge I'm talking about?
I do.
Yep. He envisions that, but he envisions it at night because he could always see the glow of the other tower in the distance. And in that same thing, he pictures the glow now of the glow they're looking for, and the other end of the bridge being where they're standing. And he tries to focus hard and believe it. And I don't know what to roll, but, give it a shot, see if he can manifest.
Well, let's do this. That's really interesting. That's really interesting, Danny. And this has been an interesting insight. It's almost like you just have to believe, right? You heard the thing that would happen with Mirk. You see the thing that just happened before you. How great is that? Good job. What is you're a charisma-based spellcaster, correct?
Yes.
I want you to roll like you're rolling a DC for a spell effect, like a charm or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that suits. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah. We know what you get.
That would be a 24.
With that, Mirk, you're kind of watching all this happening. And Silwen's there beside you, and you see kind of Braxel just grabbed the spear. And I'm going to say you notice the same thing, because this is the kind of thing you've dealt with every year for hundreds of years. Every day for hundreds of years. So, I'll give you this. You see Bastille start to get it. And as he shuts his eyes, and then his face is almost like he's having a memory. His hand just kind of goes out in front of him. He's kind of doing a shape with it. Almost like he's remembering feeling something. I want you to roll me a perception check with advantage. You see from the side view, because mind you, the way angle you're looking in, I'm going to say that doorway, and you know what? I might as well just do this. Let's just do this to make it look right. Okay? So let's go ahead and do this. Look at that. Magic doorway. Son of a bitch. So, you're looking at it from the side. When that happens, when Bastille steps up and is doing this, oh no, we don't need a second circle. We need to move Bastille. Thank you, yes. Oh, the fun of graphic arts. When you see this happen, and I want to do this to make this look proper here. I want to do this the right way. Bastille steps up in front of this thing and begins to peer into this doorway. You see it react to him. And that's something you wouldn't imagine in this place. That's something you're not too used to having happen. Silwen has been able to shape the training room to a degree. You have bound and went beyond your normal limits to find these passageways, Mirk, in this place. But in this moment, Bast is looking at this portal. And it seems like whatever memory he's having is interacting with it. It is starting to illuminate and get brighter and brighter as he is thinking about this. What are you doing?
I'm going to keep watch. I'm just going to keep an eye on. Because to Mirk, it's not making any sense as to why it's reacting to it like that. The only thing that comes to mind is maybe it's, the celestial part of it.
Maybe. It does have that kind of white glow, which is more of the kind of thing that Bastille generates, but this was already kind of like a white glowing kind of opening portal door that kind of looks like these windows. This oval I made is just to kind of be symbolic of that. I hope you guys can use your imaginations, right? Okay. So, Bella, I wish people could see your laughter when, when I say these goofy ass things.
I
It's
think
all
if
good.
anything else, he's going to kind of move closer just to see at a better angle of kind of what's going on.
Great, because when you do that, I can describe it once instead of 4 times. Silwyn, what you up to? Bastille seems to be manipulating the opening, the doorway, the gateway moving forward in this place with some kind of memory as he closes his eyes and extends his hand out, and it seems to be radiating and changing. The light seems to be growing and stuff from it. Mirk seems to be infatuated with this and walks in that direction. What are you doing, young lady?
I think probably mimicking Mirk and walking towards it.
Okay. I will also say, just for the hell of it, there are several different spears and lances up here
Ooh,
that
she's
you saw Braxel reach out and grab one that seemed to be a good, average, but there's an array here. And that would maybe pique your interest.
it does indeed.
Okay. So, for all of you now that you're in kind of a line here, and I'm not trying to, you all chose this. But I will explain this, and I will explain it to Bastille as he is the main recipient or cause of this. As you look through that portal, and we've described this in the other episodes, some of which you weren't able to join, I understand that completely. As I get my glasses on, the old man specs, you know that when you look through these portals and they lead from one doorway to another doorway in this cross-dimensional place that you guys are traversing now, it's such a hard thing to discuss, right? But there is almost like a fog, an arcane mist that seems to encompass the sides, and it seems to be responsive to how much focus you put on looking through it. And as you do that, you see that long bridgeway that crosses from No Jill over to that other obstacle that you spoke of before that had that very well lit window. And as you see that, it almost takes your breath. You almost wonder, if I step through here, can I go there? And you almost get lost in the moment of thinking, you knew eventually, and I knew because you described it very well, Danny, that Bast is wanting to use that to draw him to that place in this realm you're wanting to go to. You're wanting to get to that other piece of floating island that's in this to get to that place. That's where Braxel needs to go. That's where y'all need to go. But there's that moment in this where you're almost like, but could I go there? I want you to roll me a composure check to see if you're able to fight back the compulsion to revisit something from your own past or stay the course.
18, and that's going to be charisma based again.
Yes.
That'd be a +8, so 26.
You are able to fight the compulsion. And I will give you this. And
If there is a flash of it, I think it would be a different flash. There'd be a flash of a hall of mirrors for a second, because that's one is.
That's perfect, bud. Okay. You realize this place works very similarly, and you've never made a connection till this moment with that roll. This place in Mirk, you might want to tell the rest of them, Bastille, this place reminds you, it draws you in almost like the Colosseum that Oma has. And that's a weird connection.
He would say he's been in a place like this before, and Oma has a Colosseum. It's you just have to experience it. But
Now,
They were
Merc, do you know what we're talking
darkest.
about at all? Because you were there back in the day and we played through some of that shit. Do you remember any of that?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember when Dahan was
Hey.
inside there fighting and those walrus-like creatures come up out of the floor because he was in that Coliseum and it created, manifested what he had went through?
Was that the same time he fought the behemoth?
No, but it was close to that. It was a little bit after that.
I think I came in a couple episodes after the behemoth.
Okay. Well, there's an episode of it on there, and I'll link that in the description if you all want to check out that scene where he's in the Coliseum and all of a sudden it makes these things happen. It was really, really cool. I didn't know if you're there for that one or not. But remember I said they broke up through the floor like they bust up through ice? I couldn't remember if you were watching in that one or not, because that was Alex and Danny, but I don't know if anyone else was there or not. It was a good episode. So, with that, you see the transformation happen, Mirk, where Bastille conjures up something from his memory, and then it begins to transform and mold into what his intent was the whole time. And you see that light remain in the distance, those mirrors. And you see it shift to that floating continent that you guys had desired the whole time. He's using one of his own memories to help guide him towards one. He's taking the bull by the horns here, and he's making these doors work for him. There's no randomness in this for Bastille, and he's made that discovery. You can take inspiration from that. Okay? So, with that, we have a step forward to go here, and then we're going to go to break. And when we come back from break, there's going to be some things we're going to do with Colby. Okay? So, Bastille, are you stepping through the portal?
Absolutely.
As Bastille does, he steps forward and vanishes into the other side. What are the rest of you doing?
In Rome. I'm going through as well.
Braxel hefts his spear. He heads in, does the exact same thing. Mirk, are you behind Braxel?
Sure.
As you get ready to go through, thank you, Danny. I appreciate you, bud. As you get ready to go through Silwyn, you see Mirk start to walk through, and then you start eyeballing the racks. You know what I mean? What is it you're doing?
I think she wants to see if she could snag one of those for herself on the way out. Like, she doesn't want to really dilly-dally too much because she doesn't know how long the door is going to be open.
Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is I will make this on two bases.
Mm-hmm.
I can describe some of them to you, or this can be this way. Sometimes things aren't always what they seem.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some of the most powerful relics look the least appealing. I'll reference the Indiana Jones movie when the actual Holy Grail was the most dull-looking cup in the group. But the most brightly shine, the one that's shown the most brightly, was the one that killed the guy and aged him right there in front of everybody else in the movie. I've always loved that scene. Great job. So, I'm going to roll based on what you're looking for when you reach into this group. I want you tell me if you're getting something that looks hefty like a glaive, if you're wanting to get something thin and fast, like almost like a dart-like spear, if you're wanting to get something that looks like something native to the Atlati. There are about 9 or 10 different polearm types that are on these racks here, all very unique. Some have very strange foreign type blades on them that you've not ever quite seen before. All of them look like they've been crafted by Mecati or the people of Tenosia. These aren't the kind of things that an avian or an Illuvian would use. But you know sometimes their ways aren't the best. You've learned that firsthand. So I'll have you roll a random. You can explain it to me, and then I'll have you roll 1d10 for me.
I don't think she's looking for anything in particular. I think she is kind of very much almost like leaving it up to fate and being like, all right, let's see what we get, because she still has hers. And she doesn't have a lot of time right now to be discerning.
Nice. So go ahead and roll 1d10.
6.
6. That's really good. Well, better than average. Okay. So with that, 3. Just a minute. I'll tell you what you grab.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Out of those, 2 out of 3, and then. Oh wow. 6. Okay. That's cool. When you reach forward and you grab onto one of the spears, you notice as Mirk goes ahead and passes through, you have a moment to yourself here. And the ornery, ambitious side of Silwyn kind of peeks through it a little bit as you are really looking at this now. This reminds you of who you're trying to become. This is who you're trying to empower yourself to be. And as you reach out and grab one of these, you see a flicker. And it's almost like the forge itself yearns for the spear. Its eyes grow a little bit bright and the mouth becomes a little bit illuminated, almost like if there was a fire behind a tiki mask. It seems to be animated in some way, as if it's responding to the way in which you've grabbed and which spear you've grabbed. Okay? The spear you've grabbed seems to have 2 metal feathers engraved from the bottom of it. Okay? That would almost be similar to the kind of feathers that hang off of a Pinacho, but these are metal. Okay? And the blade of it almost looks like a finely curved short sword that has almost like a scimitar-like edge to it. It's very interesting. It'd be great for slashing back and forth side to side of that nature. It is a interesting looking blade, as the metal is a little bit darker than the metal and stuff that you've become used to, but the handle itself is a fairly basic, strong wooden handle that has some bronze and kind of hard metal wire wrapped around the bottom of it as a place so your hand doesn't slide off. And the way that wire is woven into the handle makes it almost like this snake-looking kind of thing. I want you to roll me a history check, please, real quick, and tell me what you get.
So that would be history is what? Intelligence.
Mhm.
And... So that's a 16.
16 does it. You realize that the creature being depicted on this thing is a kotal, which is the actual winged serpent. And you recognize that as that looks like a snake that has almost like rainbow feathered wings, and is from what your people know is almost a celestial type creature. It seems to be a very holy creature, and it's what this thing is symbolizing. Okay, so the bronze cord that goes around it is representing the body. The feathers that come off the side represents that, and you can kind of see the head of a serpent on the very bottom of the staff. When you pick it up and you see that forge illuminate for that moment, what do you do? Do you examine that, or do you walk through the portal?
I think she's like a little bit worried about time. Because she does want to be left alone in here type thing.
I got it.
So I think if anything, she may just be like, thank you so much to the forge. And I think she actually puts one of her feathers in the forge before, as like a sort of thank you, like gift of like type thing, because I know she has like the 8 feathers left. So
Interesting.
she's going to give one of those as like a very personal, like, this is a part of me, you gave me a part of you type thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like just gratitude type thing. But she is trying to scoot along to the door to make sure she's not left behind.
Okay. So, as you do that, when you put that feather in there, you can see the flame and stuff envelop it in twisting motions, and the forge begins to spring to life as you do that. And you see light coming from the spear you've grabbed. And when you look at it, one of those feathers that was depicted on the side of it begins to burn a bright red, then a bright orange. And flames seem to engulf it for a moment as well, as they kind of reach and spin around the blade on the top. It's amazing the beauty of it against that dark metal blade that's on the top of it. And in just an instant like that, as soon as you're almost panicked, you almost want to say something to Mirk ahead of you, and as you look back up again, it's gone. You look in, just a wisp of ash lays in the mouth hole of this forge face. Did it really happen? It's interesting. Remember that attuning with this will only be for half the time because of the act that you just performed. So I want you to write a note down of that, because I think that's well role played, and I think that is deserving. Okay? And then you would walk on through the portal, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At that scene, I think we'll go ahead and take our first break, and then we'll enter in the portal room, and then that will help me get to Colby. Okay? So let me go ahead and shift us back over. The magic of video editing. I love it, man. It's good stuff. Okay, we'll take a 15 here, and we'll get our coffees filled up and do all those important things. And then we will jump back in that. Sound good to everybody? All right, and I like it. Hey, not bad, Danny. A little blurry, but it's what the beer is what's causing it. I like it. That you just it's well played. All right, guys, we'll be back here in just a few minutes. I like it. Let me go ahead and put this sound on real quick and make a little change here. Bam. Okay. I like that. All right. We're back from break. Learned a lot about Brussels sprouts and gardening and seeds, and oh my, it's good stuff. So.
Kind of Viking would I be if I didn't know my veggies?
Ain't no shit, right? Mr. McGuffey, if it is at all possible, are you able to move your camera down just a little bit, sir? No, and trust me, I like leaning and shit like that too. Is it? Are you using like a laptop cam?
It's on a all-in-one, so it's at the top of the screen.
Oh, okay, and that's perfectly fine. In editing, like sometimes, because it's when we do this, when it's the bottom of your screen, it's just a black void. So if I scoot you up sometimes so people can see you, I need to get like a Darth Vader like mask, like in shoulders from here down, and just put that at the bottom of your video and just give you that whole thing. That'd be awesome, dude. I can dream. Star Wars would probably sue the shit out of us. Okay.
Yes, because they are owned by Disney now.
Yes, I know. I know it.
And as you know, if you make home porn, you always put Disney music in it because you'll never have to worry about it getting put on the internet because
I
down.
didn't know that, but I want to thank you for two things.
I read it on a meme. It's got to be true. I found it on Facebook.
No, for making me realize that, the potential for that. And two, so I got to see the face that Bella just made when you said that shit, because there was a bit of disgust, but then it was a little bit like, huh. And there was there
was like, I know there's a punchline coming.
There's something to this. This is something. It's awesome, man. Oh, that's why when I do the videos and it says, is this made for kids? I check, fuck no. And we move forward. So, How we
soon to
doing,
be
Colby?
called
We doing good, buddy? Oh, nice. All right, so the first one through the pearly gate is Bastille. Bast, as you step through,
Smells like oysters.
you find yourself laying your foot on a large piece of what looks like ruinous courtyard that is lost in space-time, that seems to be drifting. And you realize in that moment, it worked. Your ability to muster in your own emotions to guide you all through this place, to get you to the doorway you wanted to be at, worked, which is quite incredible. It's very disorienting, and you would notice this, Brahmas, as Bastille first steps through. Even as nimble as he is, there's still a bit of this. He's kind of has to catch his balance a bit because, as we know, the pieces of memories and physical places that are broken apart and drifting through this place like whales in the ocean, they don't exactly adhere to the laws of physics. So as he steps through, it's very easy to think this thing could be on a complete 45-degree angle. Shit, it could have been upside down when you guys step out to it, based on where it was from when you last saw it. And all the other doors and things seem to be disoriented and moving in odd, kind of slow ways on their own hemispheres and doing this kind of thing. But Bastille, you are able to find your footing fairly well. Great. The walking feet just once again for the win. It's all good. I'll just give you that inherently. Great feat, by the way. Great addition to the rules. And you see something now that you are much closer that shocks you. And Mirk, as you come through and you're over his shoulder and then followed by the rest of you, y'all can't help but stop and stare for just a minute, as there is a being sitting with his legs crossed in front of a fire that looks like one of those fires made by Yaota on the other side, and a very similar elder man that you guys have seen in two of these memories sits there. You see all kinds of very interesting markings and scroll papers laying around him. It's almost a unimaginable amount of work and things. You see pieces of stone and ruinous steps that are now used as workbenches, and you're hearing the whispers of, I was taking and I'm looking in the parts of yes, and if this is moving, and you see the hands go up, and you see the darkened colored skin in the old hands, and you realize this very easily to be the same cleric that you've seen in the last two memories. You saw him first time when he was very young, and he was spared from being sacrificed to what we now know as the Guarda. And you also saw him as the aged man that snuck into Ambriel's Seraphim years ago. He's here. And in front of him is another large, elaborate gateway. This one looks a little different than the ones you've seen so far, though. This one is grandiose in its nature. Okay? This is like polished granite stone archways that have depictions of angels and demons in combat that tell a story on their arch in a language that you, Bastille, recognize immediately as the same that comes up on your blades and the same as you've seen in different times before, especially when you have flashbacks. And it is this large stone arch in the shape of like these windows behind me. And as he looks over his shoulder, he stops. And his hands are up in the air, and he stops.
Here.
He takes a deep breath and he looks at Bastille and he looks over, he looks at Mirk and he goes, "You've come. I can't believe it. You're actually here. Baka. It's happening." And he goes to stand up, and you can see he's sore from being sitting for so long, and he stops for a minute, and he has a staff that he clutches over to real quick, and he goes to push himself up on it, and he points a hand out. And he goes, "I've seen you. You there." And he's pointing at Mirk. Just recently. What a story you must have to tell. And you. I've seen you as well, scholar. And he points at Bastille. And he looks at you. He goes, I see the shock on your face. But you know it as well as I do, especially you, young knight. Time is different in this realm, is it not? What y'all doing?
And this is the same guy that come up out of the water.
Yep,
He said people are going to know. You'll get yours.
that's right. This is him. This is the actual him as best as you can tell.
When we leave, can we take you with us so that you can see the triumph that you've longed for?
He looks at you and you can see his eyes glass over a bit at the thought of that, and he swallows. You could, but more importantly, what you can take back from me is more precious than my flesh and blood. It's my knowledge.
Which is why I wanted to take your flesh and blood. It's much easier to get that knowledge if you're there with us.
He looks at you and he looks to the left and right. He looks at Baraxel. Oh. Tell me, the Atlati have survived. And Baraxel just kind of walks up, hood off, and says, "We're trying. And with your help, possibly a rebirth. But these last years have been devastating to the Mecati and the Atlati." And he walks over and he puts his hand on his shoulder desperately. The old man kind of springs to life. He looks at him and goes, "But there are still those there, are there not? Someone, some seed, some piece of what we've done. Tell me, I must know." He looks over his shoulder at you, Bastille. Baraxel does. And he says, I believe the role of the Atlati reaches beyond Tenosia now. It is not just up to our people to win this battle. And these folks, these warriors, have risked everything to come here with us. There is hope.
We were your people.
And what did Bastille say?
We were recruited by your people.
Okay.
He finally lays it out who actually sent them here.
Okay. Mirk, do you have anything to say in this moment?
It just kind of plays off of what Bast was saying. Is We were originally asked to come rid the area of the Quetzalcoatl. I
When
see
you-
now that's not our true purpose here.
He looks up and he's pointing with an old man finger. He looks at you. The lie that the Nagtal have taught people. And he looks for a minute. And he looks past and he looks at Silouan. And he gets lost looking at you for a minute. And it's weird, Silouan. It's like he's seeing something sacred he has a look at. Yeah, like that's the impression you're getting. And he walks over slowly towards you and he's using the staff. And he kind of parts in between the others and walks past Brox and walks over to you. And he looks up at this new spear that you're carrying. He takes his finger and his hand's shaking a bit. And he's looking up and down the shaft of it and he points at the feathers. And he looks at you. And he sees the one wing on your back. And he kind of gives you that look that people do sometimes when you're in the funeral home and you're just giving the polite nod to people that you know are having a hard time. He gives you one of those. And he says, the lie of the Nagtal has forgotten the beauty of the Koto. It is the next phase in life for our people, with a life worth lived. The Atlati, he looks over to Braxel, have the Tukari, the mighty leopard, king of all the beasts. And the Mecati have the Quatl, the winged serpent that walks between our realm and the one of heaven that Baka has made for us. And the Nagtal have scorned its existence, creating the lie, and it gets loud, of the Quetzalcoatl. It's a falsehood. The Guarda is a predatory beast, but one that has been influenced by the sacrifice of many innocent people. The smell of blood can never be washed from it.
What's the female's name? The leader. I can't think of her name right now. That we
Begins with an S. Shakoma.
Shikuma. Bast says Shikuma is an Atlati that's had visions of taming. What did you call it? Not the Quetzalcoatl. What do you call it now? The Guada. If she knew her name and its
Guarda.
true nature. If she knew its true name and its true nature, it would be a lot easier for her to bond with.
Yes. Yes. An Atlati, true Atlati warrior could do this. Only an Atlati warrior. One completely sure of themselves, with no fear. It is their belief. And he bends over and he goes picking up papers and he's looking through things and he's holding up and he finds one piece of parchment and he holds it up and he's holding it up to starlight as it looks like the universe in here. It is their belief no creation is beyond the warrior's capability. And I happen to know it true that what adorns that spear is true. I have seen the gate behind the waterfall of hopes. I have seen the Koto come and take my brethren through. I have seen the transformation myself through countless dreams and offerings. Yes. Yes, elven warrior. And that laddie must tame the Quetzalcoatl. and then take back our land. Take back our home, the cradle of all existence. Silhouette, do you have anything to say in this moment? Okay. With that, we're going to turn it over to Colby. Okay. So if you have any more things to say in that moment, write you up some ideas and stuff, because there can be a conversation that goes on there for as long as you all want it to be. Okay? And then you get to decide on what's going to be like moving forward. Who's going through that door into Ambriel? How much more do you want to find out from this mystic man? You don't even know his name yet. Keep that in mind. Okay? Colby. The overwhelming feeling of triumph, of seeing unspeakable things happen, the gods coming to life in stone, is as good as seeing them in flesh and blood. This towering, you've never even dreamed of something like this in your life. No dinosaur, no Fukilikon, no pterodactyl siles, no Allosaurus-looking creature comes anywhere even close to the colossal construct that you see in front of you. But now you realize that you, Kiltusk, are wiser than you once were. You've made friends of people from other worlds that still have the same kind of blood beating through their heart, and you've found connection in that. The Killtusk from a year ago may have dropped to his knees in worship now. You've looked behind the curtain, so to speak. You know the gods to be real, and this is just an instrument of them. It is powerful knowledge and wisdom that you have now, and you feel enlightened by it in some way. You know what I mean? It gives you hope that the Atlati can be reborn. And in that moment, you hear coming down from below. You remember earlier on when we talked about the different Ozomen where wah, and they were cheering in victory and stuff like that, and you heard different bits of this. You hear but a little bit of chaos go on down the temple, down that long central stairway that you guys ascended painfully trying to get inside of this place. And as you look past the different bodies, Valdera stands up beside you. You can see that large shoulder plate that has that chimera's head on it. Her hair's kind of blowing. Everyone is just still kind of a misting rain out here at the current moment. She looks past you with strong eyes and still got a great sword hanging down her side. You can hear it grind across the stone as she walks up beside you. And she goes, "Is that normal celebration for your type of people? What's going on? What is that?" And at that, Karsu steps up. Still illuminated to a degree. Still has some symbols. Still dancing. Illuminated upon her eyes. Still have a light white glow to them. She goes, "Something is wrong. Something does not stir well. Below, I feel darkness." Kiltusk, as you look down the main corridor, you see something. Oh yeah, you were there. You did see this before. You remember when Silhouette was fucking around with one of those Ozomen that were a corrupted one, and you remember that had this gravity field that kind of came up around it. And it was able to control that, and it looked like it's almost like a black hole kind of thing that appeared. You see two of those growing down at the foot of the temple. Okay? With that, Shakoma is up higher, if I remember correctly on the map. You look over to her, and you see her distance away. She's 2 flights up ahead, or behind you, further away from what you witnessed going on down below you. Something swells up inside of you. You need to act on this. You need to see what's going on. You naturally want to automatically look to your leader, but leaders have been born and leaders have been lost in these last few years. Kiltusk, in this moment, what is it you're choosing to do? You have Karsu at one side of you, and you have Valdera at the other, and you see these large gravity wells beginning to form down along the base. Something's not right. What are you doing?
Kiltusk is going to look to Karsu and ask her if there's anything she can do to either stop them from growing or slow down the rate they are growing. And then after that, he's going to turn and face Valdera and ask him if the shaman leader is still here.
With the first one, Karsu looks and she puts her hands down and her head goes up and she lifts herself up and she goes, "We will see." And she begins to drift down the stairway with her feet just inches above them, drifting downward with her body extended like a ghost. Going down the stairway, Valdera looks over at your shoulder and gives a nod and she goes, "She doesn't waste any time, does she? I'll look to see if one of the shamans are around. Best give her back up." Valdera takes down the other side of the stairway, looking left and right, seeing if she can see one of these shaman, one of the white-furred, kind of elder-looking Ozomen that we've talked to before. What is it you're specifically doing now that you've gave those 2 direction to the NPCs?
He's going to be looking around to see if a corrupted one is, if he can notice any corrupted ones, like, controlling these ones.
Okay. So, just one moment here. I have something I need to prepare. Just a minute. So that is 3 more. Okay. Just 1 second, guys. I'm just doing a little bit of graphics things here. Because, you know, when things like this happen, sometimes you got to do graphic things. Which is okay. Let's go number 1. Let's go no-go with you. Okay. Alright, I think it's time to fade into a map here in just a minute, buddy. Let's go ahead and go with, make sure I got this right. I don't want to have you look at something and be like, that's not how it should be. Let's go ahead and do this. Absolutely. Okay. I believe that will do it. So, in this moment, let's go ahead and fade this over. Alright, there the 3 of you are. Alright, Colby? Loki at your side. I know I've not been very cool about letting you use them very much, you know, indoors, animals only. So I'll let you decide real quick with just a sentence or so how you want Loki to react as this begins.
I'm gonna send Loki out into help Valdera like locate a shaman.
Nice. Good call. Alright. So Valdera runs over to the side and starts spying down around there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take Loki from your folder and put it into hers because I want it to move along with her. Okay, so let me do that real quick, just a minute. Okay, so now it is tied to her movement in her place. And I will put it behind her like that. Okay, fantastic. Those two are together. Karsu has begun to make her way. Making her way? Can't get that out of my head. As she is floating down that way as well. Actually, she would have went through the stairway to go underneath and come out the bottom. Valdera took the high road so she could look out over top and be able to peer down and see if she can identify a shaman. Danny, for the hell of it, roll me a perception check for Valdera, see if she's able to scope anything out.
Natural 20.
No shit.
Yeah, brother.
Okay, well, let me go over here and see, because this is unaltered.
I might have needed that.
Yes, she sees a shaman way over by the staircase, number 3. So she shouts over to you. She goes, I think I see one over there. He looks pretty banged up. Do you want me to go grab him, or do you need backup?
He's going to send Valdera to go get him with Loki.
Okay. So that's going to be her direction she goes. Karsu shouts out for you in a desperate word. She says, Kiltusk, and you hear this in your mind, as she does quite a bit. She goes, you must hurry. There's something going on at the base of the temple. And as she shouts that out, she flashes you an image, a mental picture, if you will, of what she can see. As that happens between Atlati and their Scion warriors. And did I ever talk to you about the how that works between why the Scions are so important to the Atlati culture? They help stun and phase the dinosaurs and makes it where Atlati warriors are able to take them down. So they were very in tune with talking to you in this way and also giving you flash images of what they're able to see. Okay? It almost is like if you have a familiar that you can see through their eyes, they give you that kind of insight at times. That's one of the powers a Scion is like so valuable for. Okay? You are very well aware of all this. Okay, Colby, I don't know if we've ever just come out and said or not. It's kind of been insinuated over the last several months of play, but now I want you to know it's true statement. This is what you see. There are 2 corrupted Ozomen down at the base of the temple, standing up on the outer wall, just above the foundation where the grass is. And these gravity wells around them, this darkness that they're pulling in, is grown bigger than anything that you've ever seen them to be capable of before. As Darius reported to you all when he went to their camp and went into that, how much of that do you remember as far as Darius going into where they call their home now, that the Vizillion have kind of taken over and rampaged the main continents? Do you remember that large crevice that he went into to talk to their leadership?
Yeah.
Okay. So Darius has kind of shared with you after that why he believes they're corrupted. Do you remember any of this?
That I do not.
Well, I'll leave it alone. Maybe, I know he talked to Bastille about it a little bit, and I remember there was a conversation about it, but maybe he was kind of vague with you. We'll leave it alone for now. But you know, whatever corrupts these and whatever is changing these, whatever kind of dark forces, magic, or energy, seems to be getting big and out of control. As they are centered around these large, almost gem-like looking polished stones that seem to be along the foot of the temple. Okay? There are 2 of them on these pedestals. I don't know if you noticed them when you were climbing up because you guys were hurrying. But this map has been unchanged. These were always here. And they seem to be focusing on them intently. As their backs are towards you, you can see their wide horns. You can see that they are large, muscular, backed with dark gray and black and dark red type fur. And they don't seem to look like themselves at all. What are you doing in this moment? Now that you've seen through Karsu's eyes.
He would be sprinting down to the level that Karsu's on,
Okay.
and then standing on that level between, like, in the middle distance of both of those corrupted Ozomen.
Okay. So, as you charge ahead of her, you can perch here. You can go this way and try to come down between them. Over on this side, you can jump down to this pedestal to the left of them. You can literally climb down by these vases. You tell me which way you want to approach the danger, Colby, and I will set you in that direction.
I was actually having him planning on keeping his distance for now because he didn't want to get too close to those gravities, so he wasn't get pulled in.
Do you want cover from this statue right here, maybe?
Will I be able to see both gems from there?
From here? And mind you, that's just one random location of
Yeah.
millions. But from there, yes, you could. The problem is, this guy, he's got his back there, so you could maybe see a little bit of it past him. As these gems seem to be shining to some degree. And I'll give you this. Roll a perception check for me. Because this would only make sense, and maybe this will make things a little bit more clear, and it only makes sense that you would notice this, maybe, depending on your roll.
$18.
Okay. You notice that these two over here are illuminated and lit up since that construct came up out of the temple. These two over here, however, are darkened because of what these two are doing to them somehow. That's the extent of what you know. So, you want that spot? Do you want to try for another spot, or what are you thinking? I mean, right there's fine for me, but you choose. It's your game, sir.
All right, yeah, so where I'm going to be putting is more in the open, but I actually wanted him in between those two on that level, on the level of this temple.
So your end goal is being here. Is that what you're saying? You want to be in between those two on that level of the temple?
No, so basically directly above that spot on the level that Karsu was on. So just
Oh, okay.
just move him to the right.
Okay, now if you do that, I want you to roll me stealth.
All right. $19.
19, just a minute. Okay, I got good news and I got bad news. As you head across there, you're looking back and forth at the two of them, and this is a very eerie moment. The sound of rain and thunder in the distance is kind of giving us a lot of ambience and things of that nature. And as you sneak your way across there, Colby, you realize that they have their backs towards you and they're focusing on these stones. Okay? And as they do, you keep looking at their large backs and you can see their breathing and their muscles rippling through the fur. This guy here does not notice you at all. And in some off moment, this one turns his gaze up to the ledge and makes out your shape. And you stop dead in your tracks right there. As you're heading this direction, you've been seen. He looks to you. And as he does, the large under tusks expose themselves. And he looks out at you and he goes, "Rah!" He yells out like that at you. And he takes his arms and begins to circle them in. And he says some different heavy words. and he's talking to the other one. As the other one looks over his shoulder and looks up in your direction, he says, "Ask, friend, what?" They're communicating in some way. You know this is aggressive. I need you to roll initiative. Now, let me know what you get.
$16.
16. Wow. Okay. You'll be going first. Okay, now, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to do this like we did the other day. We're doing group initiatives. I'm going to give you 1 minute to come up with your game plan. Okay? And what I want you to do is, in the end of this 1 minute, I'm going to have you send me a short message in chat to tell me what your plan is and how you're going to interact it. Now, do you want to do group initiative and you want to shout some orders at Karsu so you two can work together? If that's the case, I'll let it be group initiative. Then me and you have 2 minutes to decide what your action's going to be.
Yeah, I was planning on having Karsu help me out.
Okay. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the timer, and you're going to talk to me as Karsu, and we're going to get figured out what we're going to do on our turn. Okay? Danny, did you guys stop timer on you? You can do this for us?
Let me see if I can work it.
Okay. If not, I can bring it up on my phone. I just didn't know if maybe you had something available to you that was handy and helpful and quick.
Alrighty, tell me when to start.
And 3, 2, 1, go. We have 2 minutes. Let me know when we're down to 30 seconds. So, Colby, what's your idea here? And I'll throw in some 2 cents for Karsu. They're obviously doing some kind of spell that I can see, but I'm not quite sure. You're having them go get the shaman, which is going to help situation, possibly. Maybe be able to speak to them, you know, from one Ozomen to another. Do we want to straight out attack these things? Or are we just trying to stop? What are you thinking?
At least trying to buy time for Valdera to get over here with the shaman. And possibly cover up the jewels with Hail of Thorn arrows.
Okay, Hail of Thorn arrows works. Do you have any kind of shot that like binds them and does like the vines and shit and can bind them up?
Yeah, that's one of the arrows my bows can use, is Hail of Thorn arrows.
That might be something because they're using their arms to control to do this. And then Karsu's telling you that she might be able to dominate or control one of the monsters, but it would take concentration. So when she's doing that, she's going to have to stay out of harm's way to focus on it. It's going to be up for you to do the other one. So she's going to focus on the one on the far right, trying to control that one, and then you're trying to find a way to restrain or keep this creature from doing any more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many seconds we got, Danny?
20 now.
Okay. So that's the plan. I know what I'm trying to do. You know what you're trying to do. We're good. You can stop timer. Okay. With that, on our initiative roll, I am trying to do something that's that long. You're doing this. Okay. Go ahead and what's your dexterity score, Kiltusk?
16.
Okay. So, I'm going to say that she was the one leading off this turn. Okay? And since she's the first person to go in this, her modifiers would have been the ones that go into our initiative roll.
Okay.
All right, now you rolled, what was it again, a 16?
Mm-hmm.
What was your base die roll?
That was a -1. Not my natural one.
Wait a minute, stop. Did you say you rolled a natural 1, but you got a 16 on initiative somehow?
Yeah, because my add is 7 plus 12, and then plus whatever I'm going to be doing, which is the bow. So I had dexterity for that.
Okay, hold on. I want to explain something to you. No one has a plus 15 to initiative right now. So if you rolled a natural 1 on your initiative,
Mm-hmm.
all you add to that is your dexterity modifier. If
Mm-hmm.
you're doing something dexterity based, okay, plus any skill points you would have in foresight or that skill that boosts your initiative roll, okay, plus your proficiency bonus. That's it. That's all you would add to that number. So if you rolled a 1, your proficiency bonus is 4, right?
It's 5 now.
It's 5. Okay, so that's 6. Okay, and what's your dexterity bonus?
3 plus 1 for race, I think. Yeah.
That's 10. That's what you got was 10.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
With any skills and foresight?
any skill points in foresight?
Yeah, that's where I actually get my 7 from. So is there a max in foresight?
Yeah, it's your dexterity score plus your proficiency bonus. So it'd be 9 would be the most skill points you could have in that.
All right. Yeah, so I'm still fine because it's 7 in that one.
Okay, so that's why you're saying you got the 17. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, that was a missing link I wasn't understanding. Okay. So, but it's also still a natural 1 I have to take that into consideration. Okay. So, let's go ahead and just do this. The one of them gets to act first before we do. Okay,
Yeah, that's fair.
but we're doing group initiatives. So truly, we beat them, but we rolled a natural 1. So we're going to go ahead and stick with this the way it is. We're going to act first. So in this chain of events, Karsu is going to try to dominate that far one on the right first, and then it's going to be up to you to restrain or figure out a way to contain this one and take care of covering up that jewel. Okay? All right. So I am going to now roll. Okay. My DC. Not good. Shit. Danny, I need that Ozomen to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8, and they have to beat a DC of 15 to withstand my charm.
17.
They beat it. Okay, so I tried to do the spell, and this thing is so resistant to it that it defeated her attempts to subdue it. Okay? Her free action, she says, "The corruption is strong. I am not able to control the creature." Colby, now go ahead and act out your plan.
All right, so yeah, using Hail of Thorns first.
And what are you aiming at, the orb or it?
Well, I was also planning on asking, is it easy to tell if it's them like controlling the orb, or is the orb controlling them?
You can't tell that.
All right, then I'm gonna assume it's them controlling the orb,
Okay.
and then use my level 2 Hail of Thorns on him.
Okay. Go ahead and is this an arrow shot or is this a spell you're casting?
This is arrow shot because it's one of these special abilities my bow you gave to my bow
Awesome.
when we first created him.
Yep, that's awesome. So go ahead and roll your attack roll.
What? Natural 1 again. I'm changing my dice out. Where'd you go? Where's the
Natural 1, huh?
Yep.
Do me a favor. Roll me a dexterity check, just a basic one. Let me know what you get. D20 plus your dexterity modifier.
That's fair. That will be a regular 20, not a nat 20,
Okay.
just a 20 with bonuses.
So that's the only way you kept from damaging yourself there. In this haste, in that moment when she said that, you're kind of panicked. So you go to draw that arrow back, and as you go to let it loose, you're not quite set, and it smacks off the inside of your forearm, and it shoots off into the distance, and it lands way past, shoots past them, and goes down into the weeds to a different degree into the tree line down below. And you can hear that hail of thorns. Does it automatically go off when the arrow hits whatever it was going to hit, or does that? I think it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You would see it entwine itself in through the trees and get stuck out there as all these thorns and shit project out from it, and it's stuck like in a bird nest of thorns out there in the existing tree line. What's your next act? That just takes one attack to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you can only do it so many times a day, correct?
Yeah, the second level is only once a day.
Okay. What are you doing now? You're still good if you stick with the plan.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to alter your plan, I'm going to take either your bonus action or your reaction from you because you're having to readjust your plan. But you're still good as of now.
Yeah, he's gonna do his hyper awareness, and then try again with a lesser hail of thorn arrow.
Awesome. Hyper awareness, that's a bonus action to enact, right?
I believe so.
Just look, give it a look real quick and make sure. That way I know that you're able to use those benefits now.
Yep, bonus action.
Awesome. And explain to me what it looks like. Give me some theatrics, man. Give me some shit. Tell me what this looks like as you're doing it, bud.
Yeah, as always mentioned, it's not a strength one. It's a mindset one. So and a sight one. So when he takes his deep breath to get into it, his eyes turn more into Loki's at this point by how close those two are getting, and
Nice.
his eyes become more reptilian-like.
Okay, I like that. Everything seems to slow down for you. The raindrops seem to slow down. You can hear your breath. You're really looking. It's almost like the focused moments in the sports movies before the cool shit always happens, right? It's like that. Go ahead and make your next shot for me. And you have any kind of bonuses or anything because of your hyper awareness, need to let me know.
Yeah, I have advantage on dexterity checks and dexterity saving throws, and when I attack, I also get a +2 bonus damage. Wait, is that it? Is that it?
Because I think you get a bonus to attack, whereas a berserker, when they berserk, to get bonuses to damage. Your hyper awareness gives you bonuses to aim, I think.
Yeah, +2 attack roll for the heightened awareness.
Awesome. Way to fucking do it. And that grows the higher level you are, right?
Yeah. Wait. So rest of damage. I'm not seeing for that bonus to grow as I level up.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your roll.
Oh wait, actually I see it now. It was on the chart side. Yeah, rage damage. Yeah, it's +3 now.
Awesome. No more ones, Colby.
That's nice. 27.
27 hits and breaches. So, were you aiming for the creature?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your damage, and then tell me what the effect is of the arrow when it hits him.
Alright, so That'll be. So, so the hail
You wanna
thorns
use
also.
You
The
want to
hail
use the quick?
thorns.
Do you want to do the quick damage
Yes.
variant, or do you just want to do regular? Okay.
We could do regular for now. At this
Okay.
point. Yeah. So, so just the arrow part is a 1d10 plus 6,
Okay.
which is 9, and the hail of thorns also does a 1d10 piercing damage on a failed save.
Okay. And what is the save versus dexterity? Or strength?
Yes,
Dex?
dexterity.
Okay. Roll me what the DC is for this, and let me know what the DC is for this. So it's going to be your spell save modifiers plus a 1d20 roll.
Uh, 19.
Okay. Natural 5. He does not pass that. So go ahead and do the extra damage.
That'll be 6.
Okay, so that was 9 plus 6. 15, correct?
15.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you shoot that arrow into this gravity field that he has enveloped around himself, Colby, because you had it being magical and because you put the hail of thorns on it, it still worked. And you see it go through and land, but you can see something very strange. It almost takes your breath for a moment. As you're using your hyper awareness, right? You're able to see right down the shaft of the arrow as it soars between raindrops and lands firmly in his back shoulder. That arrow slowed down by at least half when it reached that gravity field he's got up around him. Okay? And you're like, what kind of fucking madness is this? That's just what, you know, just throwing it out there for you. Now, that took care of the velocity of it, but the spell itself inside there still did the damage. So the 9 was halved to 4. But the other 6 stuck on there. Okay? I need to roll concentration for him to see if this holds up. Jeremy, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8. And let me know what he gets on a concentration versus this damage.
It's a 12.
Okay, and remind me again, how does that go? He took 6 and 4, 10 points of damage. So how does the concentration roll for that work? It's either 10 or a certain amount of the damage, correct? Is that how basic Dungeons and Dragons does it?
That'll definitely be a key question.
Yeah. I can't hear you, bud. You're muted. There you go.
Sorry about what was the question?
Oh shit. Concentration. It's is it a base number and it's based on damage, correct?
It is 10 or half the damage, whichever is higher.
Okay, 10. So he passed. He is not affected by this. The arrow and the thorns are hitting him and stuff like that, but he's still got the gravity circle up. It is still going on, Colby. You've used 2 attacks and a bonus action now. What are you doing?
Oh, okay, first round I'm doing 2 attacks.
You're still on your game plan. You're still trying to get him to stop, neutralize the threat.
Is it alright if I move one of my third attack rounds to this round and replace it with the second one? With the 2s?
No.
Okay. Then I'm done with attacks.
Okay, you got any movement you're using?
think.
Or you want to hold your ground?
I'm gonna hold my ground and like and use like the heightened awareness to see how quickly Valdera and Loki are coming, if they're coming at all with that shaman.
So I'll give you the rest of your turn and use your free action to see how they're coming along. I'm going to say they are. Let me go ahead and move that for you here real quick. So let's say 5, 10, 15. I'll say in this amount of time they've just gotten to the shop here and are hollering for the shaman to join them. Okay? Or no, they would have jumped down and saw that he's injured to a degree and are going to possibly, but you can't see them because of the level they're on. But they have made it to where he was located earlier. Okay?
Alright.
Is that the end of your turn?
Yep.
Okay, now it's the Ozomen's turn. So this one that you just shot at is going to keep on trying to concentrate. This one here is going to run interference over here and try to eliminate the threat. So he's going to stay by this. And let me see how many feet this is. 5, 10, 15, 30, 35, 40. You're within range if he moves just over here on this side. So that is number 4. Okay. Just a minute. 4. Just going to go right here. And he is going to move that gravity well to you. Okay. And as it does, he brings it right to here, and he wants that thing to suck you down off the ledge and take you for a tumble, then dump you out down below it. He just needs to get you in the edge of it for it to affect you. And with him moving in there, he got within his 60 foot worth of range. Okay? So, your DC is going to be, oh, that's not bad. He rolled shit. 14, and this is going to be strength. What'd you end up getting?
18.
Okay, you succeed. You take half of this damage, which is, just a minute. Oh, fuck. You take 10 points of crushing damage. It feels like the bones and the panacho and the feathers kind of crumple in and you lose your breath. It's almost like you get the wind knocked out of you. As this stuff is beating you up and crunching you in, and you take 10 points of damage as your spine cracks and your shoulders start to pop a little bit like you're being bear hugged, and you feel it wanting to pull you off that ledge, but it actually stops and it's not able to quite do it. Okay? And with that, he's going to leave that there. And that's going to be the end of his turn, and the other Ozomen is still concentrating on what he's doing. Let me see his progress. Danny, I need you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d4. And I want to know the progress in number 3 with whatever it is that he's doing.
That would be a 13 total.
Okay. That's 1 mark. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, next turn coming up. It's group initiative. We have 2 more minutes if we want to discuss really quick what we're going to do, or we can jump into this because Karsu, as far as I'm concerned, is running her as an NPC. Her goal still is to try to control one of these creatures. But if that's not working, if you want her to try something else because she says too strong, now's your time to go. So go ahead, Danny, give us 2 minutes, starting as soon as you can. Colby, what are we doing on our turn here?
I'm gonna give her one more try to try and control one of them. But the moment she fails, she goes from controlling it to stunning it. That's what I want her to do.
Well, I can go ahead and try to stun it. I can go ahead and do that now. I can try to mind blast the thing. She's going to have to get a little bit closer, but she can do that. Is that what you're wanting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, it would definitely be getting out of that guy's range.
Okay. Now, also keep in mind that when you're shooting at it, you're trying to do damage straight to it. Are we trying to do damage, or are we trying to restrain it?
At this point, the way they're acting, either he's gonna be going down or they're gonna be going down. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. So, as a warrior, you're seeing the corruptions went too far, and you're choosing that they've made a mistake. Okay. Roll just for the hell of it. Let's go ahead and say that's our plan. We've got our plan, right? You're going to still try to take them down at this point. I'm going to try to stun one of them with a Mind Blast psionic move. Okay. Danny, timer's good. We're good to go. We got our plan. All right. I'm going to re-roll our initiative for this turn. See who gets to go first on these actions, taking into consideration what we're doing. It's going to be based on Karsu. She's going to initiate this. Jeremy, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6 and tell me what you get. This is our initiative roll. Well, I don't think we're going first, Colby. Danny, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6 for the other team.
Ooh, 24.
Yeah, we're not going first. Okay, so it's their turn first. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, because I've already asked him to roll. I'm going to roll his progress on this and see how it comes to this gem. That's real lucky. I rolled a natural 5. So, as it seems like now that you're seeing all this go on, this creature's trying to harm this gem in some way, and that was a failure. Okay? As that circle of gravity seems to be tightening in and just getting more and more rapid, the rain and stuff is actually shearing off from it now. It looks like it's literally throwing water. Rainwater can't even get through how intense it is. As he's trying to do something to the gem, you're not sure what though. Okay? With that, I'm going to go ahead and say the Ozomen is going to control that a little bit more. I need you to roll me. No, he's going to use, oh shit, yes, he's going to do a corrupted essence. This turn. We use my bonus action. Corrupted essence. That's a 4. Yeah. And oh shit. Okay. You're going to need to roll a strength saving throw to beat a DC of 25. As it really feels like something extra has picked up as a wave, a shock wave of gravity seems to have sprung up from that Ozomen in the distance, as if he's putting extra effort into this.
Yep, that'll be it. That's a 24.
You barely missed it. You barely missed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks you towards the center, Kiltusk. Now the crushing damage thing, this isn't so much as something that armor and armor points can stop. In our concept of the game, this is something that works in gravity, and all that armor actually kind of works against you in a lot of ways, as you are crushed from the inside out. So this is something that armor points and armor can't really defend against. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be, and this gets an extra one because he's using the corrupt shit. This is not going to be nice. It's good. It's a low roll. It's a low one too. That is 16 points of crushing damage your character has taken right there. Okay? And you have been pulled off of the ledge into the center of this circle, and your feet are dangling now. You are not touching solid ground. as you are stuck in the middle of this gravity ball that is encompassed around you, and it is moving you. Now he's going to move the gravity ball for the rest of his turn, which includes you within it, unfortunately. Okay, let's go ahead, and I can do a pull, I can do a throw, I could do a drop. How does he want to do this? How do I want to fuck you over, sir? The Maple ways. Tell you what, Jeremy. Well, no, I can decide it. I'll let fate be the DM's problem this time. I won't let it be yours. I know what he's going to do. Right. He's going to do a forced throw out of this gravity wall. And, well, a slam, actually. Oh, shit, yes. He can do that. Okay. You've got 10 foot from where you're at to the ground there, okay? He's going to take that, now that you're inside of it and under his control, and he's going to push it sideways and smash you into this statue of Baka head right here. Alright? So you're in it and you're controlled. He's going to zoom it over that way. And when he does, Kiltusk, you go in, you smack into the side of this head. Okay? And as it does, that gravity thing dissipates. Because when he threw you, it moved out of his area. So let me go ahead and negate that. That is, he is number 2. Okay, let me do that real quick graphically. And then we will move on to what you suffer because of that. As you're flying over that way, controlled by the gravity, I want you to do me a Constitution saving throw. Oh, guy. Oh, guy, I just rolled a natural 20 on the DC. Oh, Kiltusk, you brave soul. That's not cool. What'd you get? I couldn't hear you, buddy.
Still counting. Alright, so 24.
Okay, you just passed. You just barely passed. So, you take... Tell me if you're bloodied, by the way. When you get down below half hit points, tell me. You take 5 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are not stunned from it, but you are hurting from that landing. And you land right there. And then, when it slams you into that face, you begin to fall. And I will give you, if you want to use your reaction, I will let you roll a dexterity check at disadvantage because you got slammed in there to grab onto this ledge or grab onto some of these vines so you don't fall and bust your ass in this pile of pots down here below you. Does that make sense? What did you end up getting on your dexterity with disadvantage?
Mother.
Didn't get worth a shit, huh? Okay. You
No.
land.
Two nat 20s.
Really? That's pretty cool.
I thought I about just wasted one, and as soon as I looked, I saw another 20. I'm like, holy crap!
That's cool. Okay. So, right here, you're able to cling on to the ledge. After you've been slammed in there, your lungs are hurt, your ribs are hurt, you just got ran into the face of Baka. Something very interesting happens, though, when you do this. This is great for storytelling, and then we're going to call it a night after this happens. Okay? When we start up next time, it will be beginning of your guys' turn, okay? So write a note of that down for me so we know where to start next time. But as you slam into this pedestal right here, you notice that it turns a little bit. Okay? And when it does, and this is all, I can't make this shit up, guys. This is all very, very interesting. Something pretty cool happens. Okay? As you come across here and he threw through that gravity well and slam, you slam into that thing, you go to fall down, you roll the 220s, you're grabbing on for dear life, your lungs are hurting, this gravity wall's on you, and something happens. Let me find this real quick. Cause this is a lot. Just a minute here, guys. Let's see here. No. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. Oh, here we go. Yeah, buddy. I like this. Check this out. Something activates. And it's because you slam so hard into that head, and all of a sudden, a beam of light begins to shoot out of the face of that as you've moved it. Dazzling spots and shit catch the raindrops as they're falling down through, and it illuminates. And as you look at this beam shooting down from the head of Baka, now that you've crashed across it, you couldn't make it any better. That's really cool. It falls on the gem that the Ozomen was trying to corrupt, and it begins to brighten. And we'll call that the end of it for tonight. That's neat how that happened. Oh shit, that's cool. Okay. So, yeah, good shit. Let me save that so we don't lose that progress. Did it save? Here it goes. Saving canvas, absolutely. So, awesome, Colby. You've done something here. We just don't know what yet exactly, right? That's awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and get ready to turn this back over to what we're doing. Nothing but wallpapers. Our good buddy Bastille. Okay, so before we hop off here, Colby, your thoughts on that, sir? What are you thinking you've done here? I'll give you a minute to kind of give me some perspective, because, you know, you've just done this. You see this light shoot out of this damn jewel in this thing's mouth down to that pedestal. Can't make that kind of shit up. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking if that doesn't make those corrupted stop, I'm gonna be. He is still gonna be fighting them, and one of them is gonna die.
Okay.
Either them or me. Either them or me.
Right on, man. There's nothing wrong with that. That works. Okay, so with that, it's almost 10:30. I appreciate everybody hanging in to give Colby a little chance to do some outside work there and get a little bit of time in for his thing. We go ahead and get ready to stop this. We'll have a really quick bullshit session and go to bed and get ready for Monday, the work week. Want to thank everybody that watches these for tuning in. We have a lot of fun playing this, and it's really starting to unfold now and moving. So we won't see you in 2 weeks, because it will be my anniversary, and or our anniversary, I should say, not be selfish about it. But possibly, I might get a session in with Colby, and we'll finish up a little bit more of this outside, just he and I doing a one-on-one play in this, in the downtime, and then we'll be back in possibly 2 to 3 weeks after this with the next group. Okay? So from all of us here, I want to say thanks again. Take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday. Good deal.